All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our fifth, I think, installment of building LaraShoppe. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we're just basically going through and building an online shop with Nova, Laravel Nova, Laravel, as well as Vue.js, Tailwind CSS, and a couple of other technologies, and we're taking a TDD or test-driven development approach to that. So that's kind of what we're all about. My apologies this evening if I seem a little sniffly and I've got a little cough going. I'm a little under the weather right now, but hopefully that won't affect this too much. So alrighty. So hopefully y'all can see on the screen, this has kind of been our running to-do list as we've been working through the project. And we've done a lot of work so far. We've kind of got our back end set up pretty well. We've done a lot of work on our front end, and last week we kind of wrapped up some work on the product pages, and now we are ready to keep moving on. So this week what I want to kind of focus on is as I was looking at our schema a little bit, I was realizing the price and costs, we added that to the inventory model, and I'm thinking that it might make more sense to put that on the product model. I was doing some online shopping on Target, actually. I pulled up their website on Target, and I realized that they kind of keep everything at the product level. So for example, if I'm switching between the different style varieties, the price is not necessarily changing, which is something we were kind of factoring into our online shop. And that could still be an approach you want to take, but or you could take. But I think for our project, it'll make a little bit more sense if we refactor that to the product model. So that's something I want to do quickly. And then I also want to start displaying the size and price details on the page, which we weren't doing before. We kind of quickly got all of our content on the page. So here it would be nice to show pricing information, and then over here if we could show some price and then maybe some sizing information. That way when we do add the item to the cart, we have sort of all that selected. But anyway, this will give us a good chance to start working with UX and Vue.js and Vue testing as well, because I want to keep our TDD working. So we're going to need to do a whole lot of sort of refactoring this week. Also some setup for some other stuff we're going to keep working on, and that'll hopefully keep us going. And let's see here in the chat. Hi Mikey, appreciate it. Yeah, it's really, I've had a lot of fun putting this together, so I hope you guys kind of are enjoying watching this process as well, because it's been fun working on. I haven't worked on too many online shops, so this is definitely a fun project for me as well. Awesome. All right, so let's get working here. So I think this is our product model. Yeah. Let's see here. With the pricing, do you think you'll find that Amazon, other sites do have different prices? Oh, yeah, maybe. Let's actually look. I mean, yeah, we could leave that flexibility. That's true. That's kind of, I don't know, a little bit of a smell for me that maybe we're pre-optimizing for flexibility we'll never need. And that might have been what we were up to in the first place. So let me actually look at this off my wife's account. Ooh. Let's take a look. Alrighty there. Nice. Let's just look at the deal of the day. So they've got a price range there, which is interesting. Let's see. Oh, that might just be because we were looking at different pieces of candy. Excuse me. So they've got different sizes, which do seem to have different pricing, which is interesting. Maybe we're kind of doing a clothing shop, so maybe it makes more sense to look at clothing. Let's look at men's clothing, because that's what I know about. So t-shirt and men's clothing. Nice. All right. That looks like a shirt. Why not? So that size is a large. If we swap it around, the price does not change. We change the color. Doesn't look like the price is changing either. So it really probably comes down to how you want to handle this on your end, depending on the project you're working on. I think for our case, though, it's going to make a little bit more sense to have them up on the product model instead of the inventory model. But obviously, you've watched us get this far, so you've seen how you would set it up at least in your so far. So hopefully you could kind of pretty easily get up and running with that if you wanted to keep working with inventory. So let's just go ahead and do this refactor here. So we'll take those guys out. Move them over to our product. Actually, I'll split the screen. Make it a little easier. And we'll take these casts. Bring them over. Let's see. I don't think we're doing anything else with price and cost. Nice. Okay. So that looks good. And then in migrations, we'll go down to we'll just grab these two lines. So we move that over to our products table. Excuse me. And then in our factory, we'll take care of that. And that's a good point to make. We're saving all this in cents for our monetary values here. So that's a good thing to mention. So that would be $1. That would be $10. And then in our inventory, we can go ahead and just grab all of these fields and move them over to our product resource. Oh, I hopped in the controller. It's only remember. And we'll just copy and paste those. We'll have to import that as well. So that's taken care of. Nice. So if we go ahead and run migrate, refresh, seed, should work for us. All right, cool. I don't know if that ran our seeders. I have an alias here. Oh, okay. That should be alrighty then. So we'll just clear that. And now I bet if we look in our database, we will see prices on our products now. Nice. So that's price and cost. And we don't have them on the inventory anymore, which I think probably aligns a little bit closer to what we were wanting anyway. Now, cost was something I was thinking about. That could technically be different for each inventory item, so that might be something you want to leave on your inventory and then have a universal price for the product and kind of hope that people buy the lower cost inventory items. I don't know. That's something you could consider in your modeling decision, but I think for us, this is going to work out okay. Okay, nice. So now, on our page, we should have 3 different products. Oh no. I wonder why that's breaking. So let's go run our test suite. Tests are... I don't want Postman. Tests aren't breaking. So products are in here. Oh, because we create them all inactive. We should probably change that in our seeder, to be honest. So that'll be a quick fix. Nice. Maybe want to show a message there if we don't have any available, but just to keep that from happening, let's go to our database, seeder, and then for the inventory, that's probably the reason. So in our product, let's see here. And that's because in our products table, we're kind of by default setting the status equal to inactive, so we don't even define it in our factory. But we can go ahead and change that. And I think this will just make things... This might break our tests, though, which is interesting to note. Let's just roll with it and see how we do. That might have been why we didn't refactor this yet. Let's say active status. Nice. Now, let's try running our tests again. Yeah, something's failing. Alrighty. That's fine. We'll just go ahead and refactor those. So for our product test, I assume it's coming from here. So fetch all of our products. Did it say? Fetch all the products. Sure. Expected count is 1. We'll just swap that to inactive. And that should fix that for us. Nice. Okay. Awesome. So before we had to send it manually to active because it wasn't active, and now we're flipping that. So we're making sure that we're only showing the products that are available at that point in time. Nice. So now we can go into that blade file, which I believe is our, no, that would be our welcome. Excuse me. Let's see here. Let's add the price. And probably just go ahead. Yeah, probably right below that paragraph. And we'll add a $sign, just hard-coded for now. We might have to do some number formatting, but we'll see how we do. View welcome not found. That's a fun one. I thought that was the name of the column. Yeah, that should be right. Product price. All right, let's go to our controller rather, and let's just ed those to see what we're working with. Cool. Yeah, that should work. So back in the welcome. Don't want to do that just yet. That's $sign. Let's get rid of that for a second. Yeah, that was going on. So I think that actually means something in Blade syntax. So we can just go ahead and set it up like that. Nice. Okay. And that's not $1,000. That's really $10. So we're going to have to transform that. We could do this in several different ways. The easiest way is to divide by 100. So maybe we can do that. Let's see what happens. But we kind of want to say that it has those decimal points. And I think we were doing something clever in the products resource just for that purpose as well. So let's go look at that. Yeah, money format. So let's take a look at that guy. So now we've used this in a few different places. And money format is a small enough method, but that might be something we would consider kind of either abstracting to a helper method or something else. There we go. Or for into something else that we might make it a little more reusable throughout the application. So if we go back to Target, which is kind of, I don't know, I liked their gallery view. It seems very similar to what we were trying to do. Let's see here. So they actually don't have a description. They kind of just talked about the shipping details. Which is something we could also consider, kind of removing that, just adding the pricing down there. I don't know. Anyone have a strong opinion on that either way? Probably makes more sense because when we click into the page, we have a little bit more about the description. But here, that might be an overwhelming amount of information to give our users. So let's go ahead and remove that for now. And this is kind of, I don't know, one way to approach this sort of a project where you kind of iterate as you're working on it. certainly there are other ways where you do a lot more of a user experience process and you solve all these design questions before you even start talking about putting this into code. But I think for right now, this is going to work nicely for us. And I guess if we're tweaking all these things, we should probably fix up all of our sizing, relative sizing here. And this should really, yeah, simple. I'm with you, Mikey. We'll keep it simple there. And I'm actually going to change that to an H2. I don't know. That must have been a mistake earlier. Really should only ever be one H1 on the page. I don't know. That's probably a debatable point, but kind of what my rule of thumb is. So we'll make this text small. Not small. We'll say 2XL. Let's make this a little bigger and make this text. I guess that would be, let's just say large for now. And we probably need to run our watcher because we're using purge CSS, so these styles might not be immediately available. So we'll let that boot up a little bit, and then let's see here. Does that all make sense? Alrighty. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. And we probably won't make that as gray. Make it a little darker. And then, where are we here? So we're definitely going to want to add that information over to our product page as well. So that's something we can do. And I also want to add more of that inventory information. So like we were seeing here, when you click in, we can see the sizing as well as the color options and all that good stuff. So that will take some logic, but we can definitely get that all set up. All right. Is that right? Is that what we're doing? Price and cost. Okay, so that's done. And then now we're working on step 2 there. Awesome. It's nice having a little to-do list so you can make sure you're staying on track. Okay. So we'll go now to product, upload. Actually want to copy that. Alrighty. Maybe we'll add that above. I don't know. We'll play with it. So that's $10 like that. Not opposed. Let's try looking at it below just to get a idea. Yeah, that makes a little more sense to me. I think that's nice. And then, okay, so now we've got to think about how we're going to get our inventory in this view. So we go to our controller. We've got a show method here. So I think we need to do product load, and we would say inventory. And the reason we're loading here and not doing a with is because products is already hydrated because we're doing this eager loading here on in the route, this route model binding. And so instead of, we can't just say with because that query's already been generated, so we'll just say load instead. And that should take care of that. And let's actually just DD this just so we can see the data, see what we're going to need to do in order to arrange it nicely. Call to an undefined relationship. Let's take a look. Thought we had that defined in here. Oh, items. That's the problem with getting clever with your model names. But I think it still works for us. And I've got too many tabs open here. Product controller, awesome. And so, and I'm deviating a little bit from our TDD here as well. There's an argument to be made that you could TDD this as well. I think we already have this kind of under test. And if the product isn't here, we're probably in more trouble than if the items aren't here. And if we add a lot of, it kind of depends on how we want to handle this. If we have some logic in here to say, like, if there are no items, don't display the product, or don't, or display a special message on the page, you might add a test for that. I don't know. I haven't thought enough about the functionality to want to do a test. That's probably a good smell that you should go ahead and write a test and figure out the functionality there. But sometimes it's a little quicker to just kind of prototype really quickly in the browser and kind of get a feel for the data and what's coming through and how you want to use it, and then write a test there. So at this low level, just keeping in mind that, yeah, we'll write some sort of test eventually for this, but maybe right now we'll just play with the data, and instead of doing test-driven development, we'll come back and make sure that everything is under test. And there's no right way or wrong way to do this. People can, no, don't translate this. People get all bent out of shape about that, but just find the way that works for you and run with it. Alrighty here, so we've got one product here. I'm actually going to spin up a few more items here, just because I want to be able to kind of group it. Alright, so we'll get into our Tinker. So factory, I guess this will be our app inventory class. Create, and we'd say the product ID is equal to 1. And we want to make a bunch of those. I don't know. Let's say 5 more, so we have a nice even 6. And now, awesome, yeah, we're seeing 6. That's going to be really annoying if that keeps popping up. Can't translate JSON. Cool. So now they're all going to be pretty similar. They all have the same SKU, which I think is fine. That makes sense to me. Those are all the same item. Cool. And we'll just go in and manually tweak a few of these. So let's see here. Product ID. These are so let's just make this large. Call this one blue. It's going to be a fun component to build. Okay, nice. Cool. I think there's a way, yeah, there we go. Pop all these open at once. Okay, nice. That's right. That 1 and that L look very similar. Which is a little disconcerting, but I think that's just a product of the typography and not actually what I typed in there. Yeah, cool. Cool. Nice. So what do we want to do here? You left 2 as 1 blue M. Let's see here. Right? These two? Does that make sense? One should have been 1 blue L. Yes. Thank you. Good catch. That's the only downside of jumping in the database and doing it on your own. Awesome. That's why we have you guys in the chat. So thank you, Mikey. Appreciate it. Alrighty. So that should be up to snuff. Nice. So yeah, so I'm thinking what we're probably going to want to do is in the controller itself, extract these out and kind of say, okay, what are the available colors and what are the available sizes? Yeah, pair programming, that's right. So that way we don't have to worry about it doing that same sort of logic on the client side. I mean, I found it's always a little bit easier to do your logic in the controller and then pass through data straight to your Vue components. You can do it on the client side too. I've done it. I just found we kind of have more, I don't want to say powerful methods, but more probably built-in methods for doing this without having to pull in a library like Lodash or something like that. So let's just go ahead and see what we can do. So we'll say start with sizes. So we'll just do product items, and I think we can do a reduce function. I don't know. It's been a second here since I've done some Laravel development, so let's get into our collection helpers. Reduce, awesome. So that just brings us down to 1, which is not exactly what I wanted. Available methods. Let's see if collapse makes sense. Nope, not exactly. Combine doesn't make sense either. Contains, cross joins. If anyone knows, feel free to. I mean, we could like filter it, which I guess would make sense. We could technically group it by the keys. We can map it. Partition, I don't think that works. I wish reduce kind of just gave you the exactly what I was looking for there. All right. Let's try. We can just try to. I guess we can pluck everything first and then kind of map over that. I don't know. Or we could group by. Let's try the group by method. I think we can just group by and then do keys, maybe. So we'll do group by, and then we're looking for, I think, size. I forget what our column is. Yeah, size. All right, let's DD this guy now. Okay, nice. So we've got those, and then I think we can run keys on that. I've got a hard refresh. Yeah, there we go. Nice. So we just kind of grouped it on its available variables, and then just plucked the not the available property, and then stripped all the keys off, so we can do something very similar for the colors. And so these are going to be collections, which works. Nice. I think that's fine. We also could just cast them straight to arrays. That's another way to go about this. I don't think we're getting a lot of value out of them being a collection. So I might just cast them straight to arrays here. The one, I guess, option of that, the advantage to keeping them as a collection would be if we ever pass them to a Vue component. I mean, Vue accepts arrays. I've had a little bit of issue with that in the past, but nothing too crazy. All right, let's go ahead and run with this. Nice. So we're doing a fair amount additional logic here, so we might as well go back to our test here and maybe write a test or two about that. Let me see here. How we're looking on time. Okay. All right, so this we'll write a different test for this, or an additional test rather, just because I think it makes more sense to have on its own in its own test, because this is kind of separate functionality or differing functionality. So we've got a product, and we're going to have generally the same setup here. So let's see here. So product has different sizes. Say a product has different sizes. It's probably a better name for that, but for now, I think we can run with that. And actually, we can get rid of this active status because we reworked our factory. So we'll do inventory, class, and we'll just make 6 of them. Create, and then we'll say the product ID and we'll set that equal to the product ID, which very self-explanatory. And then we've got a variety of sizes we could pull from. So if we look at our inventory, we do have all these different sizes, and we actually have a static method that'll return them. And unfortunately, to get the working, the Nova stuff working, we don't have this keyed by numbers. We have it keyed by the actual items, so we can't be like, here's index 0, or can we? Let's double check that. I might be making stuff up. All right. Why is this not? There we go. Alrighty, let's hop in again. Inventory. Before I say something, to get, no, it's just sizes. Sometimes I put a get in front of it. Yeah, I don't think we can do 0 like that. Yeah, it's an undefined offset. Which, you know, if you didn't do this keying like we're doing, that's fine too. I'm just doing it so we can pass it into Nova and have it work nicely for us there. So there are pros and cons to everything. I was hoping we'd just be able to be like randomly generate a number and then randomly generate a number and then pick one of these, but unfortunately that's not going to be good for us. So I guess what can we do here instead? I've lost our test again. Oh, there it is. Okay, so sizes, we can do something a little simpler. So we'll start with like inventory medium. And then we could do something, what's the PHP random? Random number between, is it rand? Between 0 and 1. I think there's a way to do this. I think it's this one. This is not what I wanted. Yeah, you can put in a min and a max. So for now, that'll work for us. And it should generate an integer. So we'll just cast this. That guy like that. And if it's true, we'll say it's medium. And if it's not, we'll say it's large or something like that. Nice. So that way we just get a little bit of variety, which does make it a little harder to assert against, but we'll keep going and see how we do. So we've got our response, and then I guess we actually wanted to keep that. So how do we want to, I guess we don't care about this because we're already testing it previously. And then assert C is probably not what we want. So in Laravel, if we go to testing, and HTTP tests, and available assertions. So let's see here. Assert Vue is probably what we want to go for. I think we ran into a little trouble with this last time, but I think we can get away with it this time. So assert Vue has, and then the key, I think it was sizes. And then, so this value, that can be mixed, which I'm wondering, so that's actually a good point. If you ever kind of get stuck and you're wondering, I don't really know what this method or functionality is doing, you can oftentimes just click into it and look at the base definition and get a lot of information out of it. The code documentation is very, very good in Laravel. This PHP unit, I think it is. This actually might be a wrapper in Laravel. We can look. It is. I think the documentation is really, really nice in here. And all these kind of param hints and everything can really help you out. So looking at this, I wasn't sure if we should give it an array or if we should give it a function or anything like that. So I think that's fine. I think we can kind of say it's not, or we can pass in what we need. So I think we can kind of just hard code this and do like medium, large. I don't know. We'll see. We kind of ran into some issues with this last time. Actually, somebody commented about what I was doing wrong, I think. Oh, no column name sizes. Okay, there was a failure. So the expected versus the actual. So failed asserting that two arrays are equal. And I wonder why that is. Could be something going on here. So let's DD this. Just to make sure I set that up correctly. Could also be something wrong in our tests. And you know what? We're going to array that. Could be a code error, which that's what I was trying to articulate. Okay. So we got a large, a large, a large, large, large. They're all large. So it looks like there's a error here. That could just actually just be chance. No, it looks like I screwed something up. Oh, no. That's weird. What are the odds of that? I should go buy that lottery ticket right now. Alrighty, so let's see. So we do have some mediums in here. But it looks like it's doing either or. Oh, because it's only doing it once. That's a little frustrating. So it would be whatever is put in there. Alright. I think in this case, what we'll do is something like this. I mean, we don't even need to make many. I guess it would be good to make many just to ensure that we're only getting 2 elements in the final output. If that makes sense. So we'll make 3. Large like that. Awesome. Nice. And that passes. So that feels pretty good. So I don't feel great about that test name, but I'm a little under the weather, and I'm going to chalk it up to that. Okay, so we can do the same thing with colors now. And do we need to really write another separate test for this? No, but also tests can serve as documentation for yourself. So this might be like if you have a new programmer join the project, or you've moved on and you kind of forgotten what's going on, this can be a nice reminder to yourself. And I don't think we're defining our colors for ourselves now. We're just kind of putting them in. So I will say red here, blue here. So this would be red, and that'll be blue. And, what's going on here? We've got one medium. Oh, that'll do it. So now, this is something else. Why would there be a medium in the color? Oh, once again, looking at the wrong section. Perfect. And if we run our full test suite, we should be getting all green. Nice. So now I'm feeling fairly confident that this is working correctly. And just for a little sanity check, sometimes it's nice just to come in here and bust things up, especially if you've written the code beforehand. So that was just doesn't make sense. So maybe getting rid of that. Yeah, that didn't work. Object didn't match array, so that's a really nice test as well. If we did something like this, so that failed. So you can see the advantages of having that under tests like that. And that's kind of the advantage of TDD in general. But again, that was we're not getting super into like the unit side of testing. We're testing our features or what's really important to the user at the end of the day, not so much our code implementation. It's important that we're always passing sizes and colors through to the page, but it's less important that how we're doing that. So if we refactored now this down to a method on the product model itself, I mean, our tests don't care about that. They don't care about the implementation details. They care about the overarching business logic that we're trying to implement. And that's kind of what I like to capture in my tests. Nice. Right on. So I'll get off the bully pulpit here. So now I think we're at a decision point here. We can implement this in Blade just to kind of iterate on the styles, or we could go ahead and do this in Vue real quickly. And I am of the opinion that we can go ahead and start doing this in Vue, because the reason being, so for example here, if we choose a color, obviously there's some dynamic changes that are happening over here that we won't worry about for right now. But there are some other reasons why it would be nice, and the main one is that if these selections are changing, I want that to be what is getting sent to the cart, not necessarily anything else. And I guess another thing that we need to think about is we're just kind of, now that I think about it, so actually this has gotten a little more difficult. So for example, in our data, we go into our products, our inventory rather. So we've got large red and large blue, but if we didn't have this large blue here, we had like an extra large red, and we might just add that, but we didn't have an extra large blue, we'd have to kind of prevent the user from checking that. So there's some data-driven aspects of this that I think are going to lend itself to a Vue component as opposed to a static, more static Blade component. So let's actually do that, just so I am a little more sure. Okay, so we do have a red one, but we don't have a blue one. That's something, again, you could consider writing a test for. And I think we will write a Vue test for it at some point when we begin to implement that logic. Nice. So if we, well, it's not a test, so it should be working for us. Alrighty. That's a dangerous assumption to make, but that's what I'm comfortable with now. Cool. So I'm trying to look at time here just to see what I want to do. So we got 15 minutes left. I don't know if that's worth trying to set up Vue test utils. I got a blog post about how to do it with Mocha. I wanted to do it with Jest though, and so we might as well start installing it and see how far we can get. Alright, so getting started. And so the problem with the test util documentation is that it mostly is about getting it set up in a Vue project and not a Laravel project. So we're kind of trying to bridge our knowledge of setting up Vue and setting up Laravel, which is fine. And I know Jeffrey Way over at Laracast has done some work on that. He's got a really nice Vue testing screencast. I think it's free for everybody. I've got that blog post that kind of goes over how to do it with Mocha. I haven't done it with Jest yet though, so let's kind of wing it and see how we do. So I think we're using Yarn. So we're going to do Jest. And let's see if there are any other ones. So we're going to need this Vue.js. It'd be good if I did yarn add. Just, the proper way you're supposed to do it. I don't know if we're going to need this Babel.js, but it probably doesn't hurt to have it installed. Babel RC. Are we going to do snapshot testing? Maybe. Okay, let's just grab that. Just because it might be something nice to do. I think that dev flag works. I'm not 100% sure about that. It's kind of winging it a little bit. Which, is fine. This is all happening in our package JSON, I believe. Yeah. Which, all good. Cool. So let me grab this guy. Hop back into PHP Storm. Hop into our package. Oop. Package JSON. And we'll just add that to our scripts. Nice. And then, okay, that flag did work. That dev flag. I sometimes know what I'm doing. And now we're going to have to add this sort of Jest block to our package.json, which is cool. I think we just make that a sort of first-class citizen here. Nice. I don't think we need this. All right. Okay, so that's how we're transforming it. If you're not familiar with Webpack and setting all this stuff up, I'm also not, but it's just kind of something I've had to pick up over time, which is not great. I don't think that's going to work. So I don't know if this root dir is going to work for us. Maybe it will. I think that's actually part of another package. So we might have to define that. We might not. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Hidden Webpack aliases. Configuring Babel. Okay, so we want to update this guy. That's just for our JS files. I don't know if we're going to be doing too much of that. We'll add it, but who knows? And okay, so this is for a Babel RC file, which we added See, this is why people don't test. It's because it's a pain to get this all set up. But very worth it if you can figure it out. Okay, that aligns there. And then placing test files. I like using the spec.js setup. All right, that's fine. Creating a test directory. We could do that. I don't really care about coverage just yet. Maybe. Alrighty. So let's go ahead to our Vue files. Alright, so we've got JavaScript, we've got our components. I'm just going to go ahead and make a new directory. We'll call it test like that. I've seen this done a few ways. I've seen a lot of people advocate for putting the test right next to the component. I've also seen people have their own sort of files for their tests. Really up to you, and whichever way you want to do it. I'm just going to go with this way for the moment, just because I think it's going to be a little easier for us right now. So we'll just write example component spec.js right here. We'll add it to Git, no problem. And then the example component is pretty easy. It's not doing anything terribly out of the ordinary if you're familiar with how Vue works. So coverage. That's what I wanted. I wanted the boilerplate. I don't care about Mocha. Alright, that's more or less what we want. So we're going to shallow mount from Vue. We're then going to grab our example component. So up to 1. And then we'll go into components. Nice. It's always good when PHP Storm is letting me know where I want to be writing from. And if we name that correctly, we'd be in even better shape. So we're describing example component. And what do we want to tell it? It works. We'll keep it simple. I think that's going to be okay. And I don't want to do any fancy clicking here just yet, because there are no example is misspelled. I think I got it. Thank you, though. I think there's a lag between the chat, sadly, and what I'm seeing. Thank you, Mikey. Appreciate it. And then, okay. There is a basic test that's just like this. This exists. I was setting up a browser environment. Did I miss all that? That's annoying. No, I think that's just for Mocha. Ah, that's what I'm looking for. Is a Vue instance, which is a fairly simple test. So that we say is a Vue instance. So if this passes, we're in pretty good shape here. So I want to go ahead and run yarn test. Ooh, that looks pretty good, guys. All right. That's not the worst thing in the world. I was not expecting us to get this far. All right, so what do we got? Failed to run, unknown plugin. Nova Babel RC. I wonder if that's going to be an issue for us. All right, that's fine. We'll go ahead and grab that sample Babel RC because we kind of added it. And we'll just put that, I think, in the root of our project. Yeah. That should be kosher. All right, let's try running that again. I'm happy it's running, though. Alrighty, so I think we got one. We have another one passing instead of 6 failing, which is weird because I wouldn't. Oh, does Nova have tests that I want to ignore? Ah, see, look at that. So how are we going to set that up in R? But that means that our example component test did pass. So look at that. We are really cooking with gas right now. So let's figure out our config a little better. And honestly, I don't know how to do that. So to the documentation, just docs. Yes, this is it. Getting started, DOM manipulation, mocking, configuring Jest. That's kind of what I wanted. Just config. Should probably go to Stack Overflow, honestly. Just ignore directory. Well, I guess we were right there. Link is broken. Let's see how this guy does. Nice. So I think we can set this as the value. And we'll copy this so it stays. Is that undercase Nova? Yeah. Alrighty. Look at that. 1 for 1. We got it. That's actually pretty exciting. I thought that was going to be a lot harder. It's funny. The things you expect are going to be really hard are straightforward and they work. And then the things that you have no expectation for being difficult take you 2 hours. But that's awesome. So, yeah. I mean, I thought it was going to be way worse than that. We just added a few, like our Babel RC was a hiccup. And then with Nova involved, we want to ignore the Nova tests, which is fine. We'll just add that to our test path ignore. Thanks, Mikey. Appreciate it. Yeah, so tell your friends if they need to figure out how to add Vue test utils to a Laravel project using Nova. Check out this live stream. Cool. So let's see. I've got a few more minutes. But now I'm excited. That'll happen when you're developing. You get that second win. So let's go ahead and at least spec out, I think, another test for ourselves for our select fields. And I'll close some of these. So I'm just going to copy this guy. And what will we call this component? We'll call this kind of our size selector. I don't know. This might get more involved as we move on. So size selector component. There are all sorts of ways we can make like these imports like cleaner and work a little bit better. We'll get there when we start working on this a little bit more in detail. So it is a Vue instance. Will certainly be something we're interested in. So I like to keep that just generally just kind of as a sanity check. I know it's generally going to be okay. But for now, and again, yeah, so like this, for example, we don't have to include that in all our tests. So what do we want to expect functionality-wise from our selector, which, as we mentioned, is just going to be like this. So, can select a size. It probably even before that populates via given data. So we're going to feed it that array. So we wanted to, I guess renders given data. That's generally a good good one. We could make that a little more descriptive. Render sizes correctly, as expected, however you want to say it. It can select a size. I think that's a good one. It can switch sizes. So that would be like selecting one and then switching, obviously. And then, so this is the case that I was talking about, and we'll talk about this here in a second. So it won't, so show sizes for a color that doesn't have one. Okay, so that is me sort of getting everything on the page, and we can refactor that. But what I was talking about was, for example, if they select the red color, and we know that has extra large right now in our data set, but if they select blue, there's no extra large size associated with it. So we'd ideally like it to like kind of gray out or something, which will probably be a fun little coding project for us. But that's what I'm trying to articulate here. So it won't show sizes for a color that doesn't have one. That doesn't make sense. All right, let's change this around. Only shows sizes that match the selected color. And instead of saying match, that we could probably say that are associated with. So this honestly could be in its own test like file, because that's like a larger test where that would be, it wouldn't be like the size selector component test, that would be like the size color selector test. We could do something like that, but I think for right now this kind of scopes out at what we want to do nicely. And then I'll also kind of, while we're here, we'll say the color selector test as well. So it renders colors correctly, and we'll have to change all this around. And we'll just do a quick replace all, which worked nicely. So it's a Vue component, we expect that. Renders colors correctly, can select the color, can switch a color, and then it only shows, and we'll get rid of that here because it's less important. And now for our components, there you got a new Vue component here. So we'll just say the color selector component. Yes, what that to get, and then I think I've got an alias here. Let me see if that works. Yeah, nice. Which is a little bit more of a clean slate. I don't like to put my styles in my Vue components. We can debate the relative points of that later. I find using Tailwind CSS, I don't have to, and I get a little bit more control elsewhere. So I don't know, it works for me. I've definitely done it. It's a very nice thing to do, but okay. And now I think if we reran our test suite, we'll get some failures here, or some skips rather. So if we run here in tests, we'll see a whole bunch of, actually you might not even run those tests, I'm not quite sure. Oh, they just all pass. Okay, well that's technically green for tonight. And we've kind of set up our components correctly, so that's pretty nice. We'll do one more thing. We'll add them to our page, just because that'll be pretty nice. So in app.js, or yeah, we'll have to register them. I'm actually going to get rid of size selector component. I haven't looked at the Vue style guide in a second, so there's probably a better way to name your components. You might not have to add component here. Kind of nice though, because it will never conflict with a native HTML component, hopefully. I don't know, maybe these will, but they shouldn't. And so if we run our compiling software, now these will be available to us, or they should. I shouldn't have run that just yet. I wanted to add some text in here. So we'll say hello color selector, and we're almost out of time, so we're out of time. I'm just pushing forward. And then hello size selector and product. So let's go ahead and just for the sake of this, we'll add them here. These are self-closing technically, which is nice. We'll just say color selector component. I don't know why that's taking so long. Always good when you've updated your package.json or your webpack config or anything like that to redo your other script commands. Because I have had it set up where I've tweaked something and like watch worked but prod broke, or npm run production versus npm run watch. I've had script okay, but the other ones all started failing on me, so not a bad idea to go back and test everything to see that it's all working as you'd expect. And just so this doesn't blow up on me. Exit out all those guys. And looking back at our Markdown stuff, we'll cross off what we worked on. This I'll just mark down. We're not doing that quite yet, so we'll come back to that. Alrighty, cool. So let's see. That's not coming through, which is a little upsetting. CSRF token not found. That could be part of the issue. So let's try and fix that here. So if we go to our layouts file, app.blade, that's there. But it might not be on our main.blade. Yeah, that's our problem. A problem at least. All right, let's go into watch. We'll get this working then. Call it a night. Now everybody's been watching very patiently, and I appreciate it. Alrighty. Maybe this will just work. Did I add it to the right page? I think so. Let's see. Vue.js not detected. Oh, that could be an issue. No, that should all be there. App.js, that's all there. Oh, do we have a div with the ID of app? That could be part of it. So in our content, that could be part of it. I think that's what we're binding to, yeah. Weird that it's not even detected though. And this should be in, yeah, layouts.main. No, we haven't been using app.blade super much. That's got all the same stuff going on there. There we go. Just was taking a second here. So we've got our two components. Which, why is that? I guess we could say flex. Oh, those would be flex wrap. Nice. Awesome. So that's hello size selector. Where's our color selector? Yeah, those are both different. Nice thing about these guys is you can put classes right on them. Excuse me. We open up our dev tools. I get some more insights into what's going on here. So just size selectors coming through. That's registered. That's correct. Oh. I don't know if color selector is a default HTML tag or not. No, it's input type color. Well, I am very perplexed about this one. I'll try and do a full refresh. See, this is what I'm talking about. The tests were fairly straightforward and easy, but then this is something you would expect to be easy, not working the way it should. All right, let me see if I can add 2 of those. I'll try looking at localhost. Not that it should make a difference, but so for some reason size selector. There's only one component on the page. I wonder if we get rid of this. Not all of it, but just these two. The color selector comes out. Yeah, okay, that's a little bit closer. Why would there only be one component on the page at a time? Wondering if this has to do with our app binding or not. So if we go to app.js, anyone else see if I missed something, I'd love to any help in the chat. Why? I'm just go to Vue.js.org. We'll go to the guide. Sometimes I'm just gonna go to the documentation. It has different color tag openings. Maybe something wrong there. Let's see. Possibly. So in here, or actually in the template itself. We'll go back to the products. Let's just try doing it like this. I could have gotten ahead of myself. Where are we here? Nice. That seemed to be our issue, which is weird because I thought they were self-closing. Single file. Strongly recommended. Never in DOM. With no content? Oh. I don't know. Maybe I missed something. 2 characters. Oh, maybe because I wasn't. That's probably the issue. Good catch there, Mikey. Thank you. So I think we do this. And the reason this is nice is because it just distinguishes that they're Vue. I mean, reading them distinguishes that they're Vue components. I've totally broken it now. Which is weird, because that's what I would expect. But at least we know a way to make it work. So let's call it a night then. Awesome. Great. So we've made a lot of progress now. We've got sort of our price refactor done. We're displaying the price. Cleaned up our product page a little bit. We got Vue test utils set up, and we've got some Vue components on the page now. So now we can start passing in that data that we've got all set up for ourselves now, and really start cranking on this cart and selection and all this interactive functionality that we're going to build. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for sticking around. I hope you learned as much as I did. I know this is always a good refresher of skills for me, and to learn some new things as well. So thank you again for watching, and feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm on Twitter at Nick J. Basile as well, and have a wonderful evening.